Anybody who's ever been in the locker room is listening to this. You know what I'm talking about. So they tell me, no, we're not going to do anything about it because it's just like a fatty deposit, whatever. It's like a calcium deposit, whatever. So I let it go. Fine. It gets bigger. A couple months later, I'm like, this thing got fucking bigger. Does it hurt? No. Well, then let's just leave it. Let me ask you something, Doc. Is that like your medical opinion, or are you just a lazy piece of shit and you don't want to fucking do it? Because I've seen you cut a million of these things out of somebody. Well, you got to wrestle tonight and blah, 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 and you might need like a stitch. I'm like, so fucking what? You've put 14 staples in my forehead, and then I've had to go out that same night and wrestle again. What is preventing you from helping me? Well, let's just see, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Did you have like a theory, or?
Did I have a theory?
Theory on why he's not cutting.
No, he's just lazy.
He's just lazy.
He's lazy.
Crazy.
And that's the thing. God, guys, I really feel like fucking shit. I have broken ribs and I have a fucking concussion, and they're like, here's a Z-Pack, Phil. Okay, I take the Z-Pack, I can't sleep. Here's another Z-Pack. I take the Z-Pack, I shit my pants in the ring, and then after all that, they gave me an even stronger antibiotic. And I'm like, all right, I'll take this. Maybe it'll make me feel better. It made me feel worse. I had fucking goddamn diarrhea for like 3 weeks, you know?
Not just diarrhea.
Oh man, was I nervous I was going to shit again. I was like, this is going to be my new gimmick. You know what I mean? Vince is going to be like, you're going to get all white gear.
Oh God.
You know? So, I mean, everything fucking comes to a head, and I'm still motivated. It's Royal Rumble season, and I know Batista's coming back, and I know the main event is Batista versus Randy Orton, but I'm still that kid, and I'm like, I'm going to change their minds. I'm gonna have this awesome Royal Rumble, and they're gonna be like, God damn, all right, Punk needs to be in the main event. He hasn't been in the main event, you know. I remember watching Foley's DVD, and they interviewed Vince, and Vince was like, I thought it was a shame that he didn't have his WrestleMania moment before he retired, so I coaxed him out of retirement and put him in the main event. So I saw that, and I was like, well, motherfucker, I'm still here. I'm not retired yet. Well, my hard work's going to shine through, and I'm going to wow them with my fucking my fancy pro wrestling skills, and they'll realize that Randy Orton versus Batista would be a big stinker of a fucking match for a main event of WrestleMania 30. And I wrestled like that day. I showed Doc that thing on my back, which was now purple and the size of a fucking baseball,
and had teeth. And, like,
and he went, "Does it hurt?" And I went, "Yeah, actually, it hurts like a motherfucker." And like the waistband of my tights was like right on it, so like I was aware of it constantly. And it was so big that I felt like if I bumped on it, it would burst. Mm-hmm. You know, but like I can't pop it. It's not like a fucking zit or anything. And he's like, "Well, I'd cut it out now, but you know, you got to wrestle in the Rumble. I'd probably want to get you on some antibiotics before I put." And I went, "Motherfucker, I've been on antibiotics since November. What are you doing? Just cut it right now." He won't do it. He just wouldn't do it. I didn't get it. So I got to do this shit. I got to wrestle in the Rumble. I'm number one, and I'm getting thrown out right at the end. And I didn't really give too much thought. You know, you can say a lot of things, and like a lot of people will take things out of context or how they want. Like I could say I wasn't thrilled about wrestling Kane, and people will take that like, oh, he hated wrestling Kane. I love wrestling Glenn. I got along with him. Nobody ever has a bad thing to say about him. The matches were fucking easy. It's just I'd done it so many times. I wanted to do something new, you know. I wrestle in the fucking Rumble. Kofi goddamn Kingston fucking tells me, I'm asking everybody, I'm going to everybody, hey, when you come in, do this. You know, tell me what you're going to do, I'll feed for you. That fucking Rusev guy, he was fucking scared to death of me. And I was like, dude, this is your first impression. You have to do something. He's like, okay, I'll come over to the corner and stomp you. I was like, no, you have to fucking pick me up and fucking do something. We're in Gorilla, and I go, look around you. I go, none of these motherfuckers care about you. They don't care about you. They hope you don't fucking succeed. They don't give a shit about your fucking push. You have to fucking make your moments count. And because you think I'm CM Punk, like I don't want to fucking do anything with you, beat the shit out of me. Do a cool move to me. Just tell me what you're going to fucking do. Don't just kick me in the fucking corner. I'm going to be the biggest, star-wise, I'm going to be the biggest guy in the ring. You have to do something to me because everyone's going to be like, ooh, ah, whatever. Same thing with Kofi. He's like, hey, I'm going to come in. You're going to be in the ring. I'm going to do my little roll in the ring, which I never knew how he did. I thought it was like the most athletic thing ever, where he can jump from the floor and roll through the bottom and the middle rope and somersault and come up and clothesline me. Mm-hmm. Concussion City. I didn't want to tell him afterwards. I don't even know if I did. So Kofi, for listening to this, I love you. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
So
okay.
I flat back, and I'm just fucking rocked. I'm out of it.
Number 12, 13.
So I roll under the fucking corner, and I motion to Doc, and I go, I have a concussion. And he was like, what do you want me to do? And I just started laughing, and I was just like, Doctor, you are the most worthless piece of shit I've ever met in my entire life.
I agree, but I don't agree. But like, what does he do?
But this is miserable. This is miserable fucking Phil Brooks you're talking about.
Okay.
So he goes, "Do you want me to tell somebody?" I said, "No, I'm just going to sit here for a minute. I'm going to collect my wits, and I'll go do my shit." Next thing I know, one of the refs is like, "Kane's out here. He's going to pull you out early." And my knee-jerk reaction from 15 plus years of being a pro wrestler was, "Fuck you. I'm finishing this match. If Kane touches me, I'm going to fucking quit." You know? So then poor Glenn's out there and like he's like shirtless wearing like business slacks.
Corporate
and he's
Kane.
like crouching down and the camera's not trying to shoot him and like it was chaos. Mm-hmm. But then eventually we did the angle. He chokeslammed me through the fucking thing. And I walked in back and Doc was there and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Cut this fucking thing out of me right now. Like whatever the fuck this is, cut it out of me." Like I feel like fucking shit. I've had a fever for weeks. I'm fucking green when I look at myself on television, and he won't do it because now he's like, "Oh, it's a concussion. It's this, it's that, blah, blah, blah." And that night, man, driving to Cleveland, I couldn't sleep. I was just fucking laying there in bed. And, I look over and, I know I'm marrying this woman. I haven't asked her yet, but like I know. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I had a big moment of clarity. And then I went to fucking TV and like they wanted me to take their concussion test and I just had it. I was belligerent, I was argumentative. And then they were like, "Oh, and you have to take a piss test too." I flew off the handle at that. I was just like, I'm sick of this fucking shit. I'm like, you're going to amend the fucking drug test policy because of people who have 2 strikes so they can fucking either fail again or work one of those strikes off, continue to do drugs. And you're going to tell me like I have to take another fucking piss test? And they were like, "We need you to sign this for this visa for this country because we're going on this tour." And I was like, right now in Cleveland, Ohio, take fucking care of me right fucking now. Don't worry about where I'm supposed to be tomorrow. Don't worry about what segment I'm supposed to be. Fucking fix me. My fucking ribs are broken. My knee is fucking torn up. I'm fucking sick. Fucking help me. And they were just like, "No, you have to sign this. You have to piss in this. You have to fucking go take this."
And I think
concussion
that's
test.
the line. Fucking help me.
And then I just went, "You know what, Vince, I need to talk to you." And Hunter was in the room and he goes, "Oh, I'll leave." And I went, "No, you know what? You can stay. I don't care. You need to hear this too." And I just looked Vince in the eye and I said, "I do not love this anymore. I'm fucking sick. I'm fucking hurt. I'm fucking confused. I don't know as a business what we're doing anymore. Every day you tell me this is a team effort, but every day it's a fucking individual effort by me to find what's necessary to even fucking come here." I said, "It's not fun. I have zero fucking passion for this. I'm fucking concussed. I'm fucking hurt. And all you care about is what segment I am and how soon I can fucking get my gear on and when I can pee in this fucking cup. And I don't want to do it anymore." I talked openly about bringing back Dave as a babyface, and I was like, "How do you not see how that is the worst idea? How do you not see?" Even Dave.
And he was quoted as saying.
And dude, I don't know. I can't remember if you were here or not. Dave was on the fucking couch a couple months ago, and we talked about all of this. So please, dirt sheets, don't try to stir shit. Me and Dave are friends. I'm giving you a recanting of exactly what I said and how I felt at that time. And Dave was fucking cool with all of it because I fucking talked to him about it. I mentioned something about the piss test. Hunter goes, "Well, Dave just took the same piss test you did." And then I just looked at Hunter and I went, "Did you?" And he had nothing to say. And then I said, "Look, I thought when I re-signed 3 years ago, Vince, I told you if I couldn't be all that I could be, that you should fucking fire me. That if I was a fraud and I was anything less and fell short of the fucking mark," I said, I sold more shirts than John Cena. until I turned fucking heel for you. You said you owed me one. I worked guys that were fucking dangerous, and you said you owed me one. I did all these fucking things, and all I wanted was the main event of WrestleMania. And it's fine if you don't think that is me and that I'm that caliber of a fucking superstar, but then you need to fucking fire me. Because I do not want to be here, and I do not want to be anything less. I will go somewhere else, and I will get more fucking over because I know I can. You have shackled me. You have creatively stifled me. You have made this a very toxic environment. I no longer want to be here. I said, it boggles my mind how Daniel Bryan has not figured into your plans to be in the main event of WrestleMania because this is his fucking year. Just like 2 years ago, it was my fucking year. And I was white fucking hot, just like he is now. And what did you do? You fed me to this guy. And I pointed right at Hunter. And Vince was just like, this is the concussion talking. I can't believe you're saying any of this. You're in the main event. It is a main event. You're wrestling Triple H. And I turned to Hunter and I said, all due respect, I do not need to wrestle you. You need to wrestle me. I do not want to wrestle you. I seriously resent you for not putting me over 3 years ago when you should have. That would have been best for business, but you had to fucking come in and squash it. And then I had to lose to fucking Truth and Miz. Like, it didn't make any business sense then. It doesn't make any business sense now. And I'm in a position now where I can tell you that I don't have to, and nor do I want to wrestle you at WrestleMania. I don't care if I was supposed to win, which I was. I didn't care. I didn't want to give him the fucking privilege. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
I said a lot of shit in there. I told him again, and Hunter was gritting his teeth, and I knew. Hey, I mean, he never liked me. It's one of those situations where you always hear the stories in the dirt sheets about, oh, Hunter says this about Punk and all this negative stuff, but me and him in a room together, never any good vibes. Always negative. The way he would always look sideways at me, the way he always treated me. Yeah, for instance, a simple courtesy call. Hey, that is the European tour. You can't do the movie. We're going to have Randy do it. But he thought he didn't have to do that because I was a piece of shit.
Listen, you tried to convince me when you were white hot after your first match was.
I tried to convince myself.
Yeah, and convince yourself to convince me, saying that this guy coming out of retirement and beating you and then going back into retirement.
Did he He did that, didn't he?
Yes.
He came out of retirement.
He was gone. Came back. You were his first match, and then he went back to.
And then he went away again. Yeah.
To stop you.
Yeah.
I mean,
so Hunter goes, Punk, you were in the best match of WrestleMania last year, and that was the main event. And I was like, I'm not fucking stupid. The main event is the last match. You can push it to people who buy the pay-per-view that, there's 4 main events. There's one main event. There's always been one main event. And I deserved it. And I still deserve it. And now Daniel Bryan deserves it. And you think you're just gonna give it to Batista and Randy? And I made this argument. I was like, when you look at the roster, how many active members of the roster have been in a WrestleMania main event? How do you expect anybody to get fucking better? AHL hockey players have to play with NHL hockey players in order to get better. I needed the experience of a main event at WrestleMania with somebody who is equal or better than me so I could learn, so I could further become an asset to the fucking product. So I could draw more instead of always being told, well, you're not a draw. How do you know? Why don't you give me a fucking shot? And anytime they did give me a shot, I knocked it out of the fucking park, ran, caught the ball myself, and then fucking shoved it down their fucking throats to remind them, yes, I am all that, and then some, and more. And you fuckers what it boiled down to is that it was an old, out-of-touch man's decision. No, this is going to be the greatest main event of all time. And then they wound up changing it. And I'm so fucking stoked that Daniel Bryan got his fucking main event. That they can never take that away from him, ever. Whether they want to make fun of him or what not. But Hunter told me I was in the main event because I wrestled The Undertaker. And I turned to him and I said, tell me that I got paid the same amount of money as you, Brock, Cena, Rock, or whoever. And he was like, and once again, he had nothing to say. He didn't say anything. And I was just like, right on. All right. I said, I'm out of here.
Right.
And Vince, with tears in his eyes, fucking stood up, and I stuck my hand out, and he went in for a fucking hug. And it was like a reluctant, like I just kind of patted him on the back a little bit, and I looked at Hunter, and he stuck his hand out. I shook his hand, and I said, goodbye. And I walked out. People would be like, oh my God, he walked out on his contract and he did this. First of all, I'm an independent contractor. I could have walked whenever I wanted to, right? Second of all, I didn't do it in the middle of a program. I didn't say I'm quitting unless you do this. I didn't say, I didn't hold them up. I got chokeslammed through a table at the end of the Royal Rumble. I wasn't, there wasn't everything advertised. It wasn't like Kane versus Punk at the next pay-per-view. I walked, and now, after all that, this is where the fucking story actually starts to get really good. Because a week after I fucking left, Vince texts me, just like the 2 surgeries. How you feeling, pal? You ready to come back to work? And I text him like, no. I'm so mentally fucking shot. I still can't sleep, this, that. My lovely wife convinced me to go to her doctor in Tampa. I went to her doctor in Tampa. I walked in. I've never met this guy, right? He looked like Patrick Bateman. It was kind of creepy. Like if Patrick Bateman had white hair, that was him. His last name was Bateman, too. It was very strange. So I walked in. Never seen him before. He's got no idea who I am. He's like, okay, so what's the problem? And I fucking yank my shorts down, and I show him this fucking thing on my back.
What kind of doc? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he looks right at it. He doesn't touch it. He just looks at it, cocks his head sideways, and he goes, that's a full-blown staph infection.
Full-blown.
Yeah, and I looked at him and I laughed. And you were there when the doctor told me I had a fractured skull. Same laugh. I just went, like, yeah, of course it is. I have a staph infection because of course I do.
Right.
Why not? And I was like, all right, what are you going to do? And he was like, I can cut it out, and you need to go to a hospital and get an antibiotic IV drip. And I was like, well, let's say we didn't have time for that, He just loaded me up with antibiotics. He cut the thing, he squeezed it, shit shot onto the ceiling. I've had tattoos in some of the most painful places. I've fractured my skull. Ryback has broken my ribs on a kick on purpose. I've wrestled 3 weeks after knee surgery. This was the most painful experience of my entire life, and I don't know why it hurt so bad. I sweat like I was in the fucking Sahara Desert, like I was clutching the table, and this doc was just squeezing this shit. And he kept squeezing this shit. And then he patched it up, put a Band-Aid on it, and he gave me 3 months of antibiotics. And I was like, great. And so I asked him, I was like, I've been on antibiotics for a long time. Like, why wouldn't it do this? And he was like, unless you're on specific antibiotics to kill a MRSA infection. He's like a Z-Pak's not going to do anything. Right. He said, how long? And I was like, I don't know, at least 3 months. And he was like, you should be dead. You could have died. Because I look up staph infections, people. They're nothing to fuck with. So I get that taken care of. All of a sudden, I can sleep. And I slept for a long fucking time. Vince texts me and says that I'm suspended. He says, well, I wish you could have, lasted until the end of your contract, but you're suspended for 2 months. So I did the math in my head. It was the day after Mania, my suspension was up. So I was like, all right, I'm missing Mania. Fucking whatever. I don't care. I hate wrestling at this point. You know what I mean? I'm just like, blah, whatever. Sure. So the 2 months is up, and I don't hear anything. Nobody texts me. Nobody says your suspension is up. And then I don't get my royalty check. I got some wonky shit going on with the mail, so I just figured maybe it's late. So another week goes by. I don't get it. My wife.
Well, you don't figure it's, but you also like.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here, And then I'm downstairs in my basement cleaning out bins that were on my bus, and I find a royalty check from last year that I just forgot to cash. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so I find this check, and now I'm like, fuck, what do I do? I'm like, I talked to my wife about it, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll call him, and I'll be like, you need to reissue me this check, plus send me my royalty check, because I haven't gotten it, And I called the name of the guy who's on the check. His name's Tom.